Today we're exposing something that's been rolling around on your car this entire time. The 4 things keeping you connected to the road and the only 4 things standing between your family and the pavement at 70 miles an hour. Your tires. And what I found after weeks of digging through federal recall filings and complaint databases is genuinely alarming, because right now, drivers across the country are hauling tires back to shops with the same terrifying story. Chunks of tread peeling off, belts separating, bulges erupting on the sidewall out of nowhere. And this isn't hysteria, it's documented. In November 2025, federal regulators confirmed that 36,919 tires were recalled because their treads have the tendency to partially or fully separate from the tire body. That's just one recall. There have been more. And the companies? They're pointing at your alignment, your tire pressure, your driving, anything but the rubber they sold you. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when a tire was a tire. You bought a set, rotated them, and they wore down slow and even over years. You didn't lie awake worrying about the belt underneath suddenly letting go on the interstate. That confidence is eroding, and it's not your imagination. The tire industry has quietly become one of the most consolidated, rebadged, and spec-gamed corners of the entire auto world. And most drivers are buying completely blind. So we went through the major brands, pulled the actual recall records, and I'm going to count down 12 tires and tire situations drivers are fighting back against. Real recalls, real lawsuits, real complaint patterns. Then I'll give you the brands that still build a tire that won't try to kill you on a highway on-ramp. But first, I need 10 seconds of your help. If you've ever had a tire fail early and gotten the runaround from the manufacturer, hit that like button right now. I'm not saying it for the algorithm, I'm saying it because these companies bank on you staying quiet and blaming yourself. Every pushes this in front of one more driver about to put their family on tires they shouldn't trust. So hit drop a comment with the brand that failed you. I read everyone, and let's get into it. Number 12, ultra cheap no-name imports. You've seen them. Tires with names you've never heard of, shipped to your door for almost nothing. And the recall record backs up the danger. In early 2026, regulators flagged obscure imported tires for cracking, inner liner separation, and air loss during durability testing. There's no brand reputation to protect, which means no accountability when they fail. You saved $60 and bought a product with nobody standing behind it. That's not a deal. That's a gamble with your axle. Number 11, budget house brand store tires. Big retailers slap their own name on tires built by contract manufacturers, often overseas. It's the same rebadging game running through this entire industry. The problem isn't that they're always bad, it's that you have no idea what tier of construction you're getting, and the marketing tells you nothing. You're trusting a logo with zero engineering reputation molded into the sidewall. Number 10. Tires sold on a huge mileage warranty number. A tire advertises an 80,000-mile tread wear warranty, and shoppers assume it'll last 80,000 miles. Read the fine print. That warranty is heavily prorated and loaded with conditions. Documented rotations every few thousand miles, tread worn below a specific depth. And even then, you get a partial credit toward a new tire, not a free set. Miss one rotation receipt and the whole thing evaporates. The big number is marketing. The actual protection is a fraction of what you think. Number 9, the UTQG treadwear rating game. Stamped on every sidewall is a treadwear number, 400, 500, 600, and higher is supposed to mean longer lasting. The deception that rating is self-assigned by the manufacturer through their own testing, with no requirement that one company's 500 matches another's. A brand can game the number to look more durable on paper than it performs. When you compare 2 tires by treadwear rating, you may be comparing 2 different measuring sticks. Number 8, Hankook and the curing agent failure. Hankook is a major global brand, but here's a documented one. Federal records show certain Hankook tires fitted as original equipment on 2021 to 2022 Chevrolet Equinox and GMC Terrain vehicles were recalled because the tires may have been manufactured with an insufficient amount of curative agent, which could cause tread separation. Regulators were blunt about the consequence. Tread separation can result in a loss of vehicle control, increasing the risk of a crash. A manufacturing shortfall you can't see on a tire that came with a brand new car. That's the kind of thing drivers have every right to be furious about. Number 7, Continental. Even the premium names get caught. Continental is one of the most respected engineering brands in the world. which is exactly why this matters. A recent recall covered Chevrolet Equinox EV and Cadillac Optic vehicles because their Continental cross-contact tires could experience partial or full tread detachment traced to a non-conforming tread-based rubber compound. Let that sink in. A top-tier brand on premium electric vehicles with a tread compound that didn't meet spec. No name on the sidewall is a guarantee. The best brands still have bad batches, which is why blind brand loyalty is its own risk. Number 6. Toyo and Nitto, the late 2025 tread separation recall. This is the big current one. In November 2025, nearly 40,000 Toyo and Nitto tires were recalled because of tread separation, which regulators warned can cause vehicle instability, increasing the risk of a crash. The cause was a contamination incident during production that impacted the adhesive used on the treads, so they weren't well bonded. And this wasn't even Toyo's first. Back in October 2023, the company retrieved over 14,000 open country and Extensa tires over sidewall separation concerns. 2 separation recalls in 2 years. If you're running these, check your DOT date code today. Number 5. Aged tires sold as new. This applies across nearly every brand, and it's one of the most dangerous. Rubber degrades with age, not just use. The compound dries, micro cracks form, the bond between belts weakens, even on a tire that's never touched the road. A new tire can sit in a warehouse for years. There's a date code on every sidewall. The last 4 digits of the DOT code give you the week and year it was built. The Goodyear case we'll get to proved how deadly aged rubber is. Regulators recalled those tires in 2022, even though they'd been produced as far back as 1996, noting they had aged out and should no longer be used. Buy fresh rubber. Number 4. The all-season does everything promise. Almost every brand sells this, and it's quietly one of the bigger traps. All-season sounds like an upgrade. One tire, every condition, no compromise. But all-season is a compromise by definition. It does nothing exceptionally, and in genuine winter conditions, a cheap all-seasons grip falls off a cliff. Drivers who trusted the label end up sliding through intersections believing they were covered. It's not a lie, it's a reframe, the same way other industries sell you convenience that's really a downgrade. Number 3. Goodyear Eagle F1 Supersport, the performance recall. Goodyear is a giant, and most of its lineup is solid. But watch this one. In April 2026, Goodyear initiated a safety recall for certain Eagle F1 Supersport tires sold in the United States, citing a risk of tread separation. And here's why it's so serious. This is not a commuter tire. It's marketed to drivers of performance cars, vehicles that spend time at the upper range of legal highway speeds and sometimes beyond. And when tread separates at those speeds, the driver's ability to respond is measured in fractions of a second. A high-performance tire failing at high-performance speeds is the worst possible combination. Number 2. Goodyear G159, the one that became a federal scandal. This is the darkest entry on the list, and it's all on the public record. The G159 RV tire has been linked to 95 deaths and injuries since 1998, making it one of the most dangerous tire recalls in history. A tire designed for inner-city delivery trucks was sold and installed on large RVs that travel for long periods at highway speeds, where they were prone to catastrophic tread separations and blowouts. And here's the part that should make every driver's blood run cold. Goodyear is under criminal investigation over its handling of the recall, and because the company routinely settled lawsuits and convinced judges to seal the court documents, federal regulators weren't made aware of the tire's extraordinary failure rate until 2017. The recall finally came in June 2022, more than 19 years after the last one was made. That is a brand fighting to keep the truth buried while people died. Drivers fighting back is exactly what cracked it open. Number 1. Firestone, the name behind the most infamous tire disaster in American history. I have to put this at number 1 because nothing else compares for scale. Tread separations on Firestone ATX, ATX2, and Wilderness tires, mostly fitted to Ford Explorers, were ultimately associated with 192 deaths and over 500 injuries by September 2001. In August 2000, Firestone announced a recall involving approximately 14.4 million tires. For over a decade, the deadly tire failures were covered up while the treads separated at an inexcusably high rate. And before you think that's ancient history, it isn't over. In December 2025, there was a fresh safety recall for certain Firestone Destination LE3 tires, where a belt edge insert may be out of position, decreasing durability and causing tread separation. A quarter century after the scandal that nearly destroyed the brand, the same failure mode, tread separation, is still showing up in recall filings. That history is exactly why drivers stay wary. And here's the thread tying all 12 together. The dirty secret of the tire aisle is consolidation and rebadging. A huge share of tires sold in this country, cheap brands and premium brands alike, come from a relatively small number of global manufacturers running the same factories under dozens of labels and tiers. So when you shop around between names, you're very often shopping between stickers on similar casings. That's why the early failure recalls cut across brands you'd never expect. Hankook, Continental, Goodyear, Toyo, Firestone, names at every price point. They're not all selling you better tires. A lot of them are selling you better marketing wrapped around comparable rubber, and even the best of them ship a bad batch. So how do you actually buy tires that won't strand you? Or worse. It's simpler than the industry wants you to believe. First, check the DOT date code on the sidewall and refuse anything that's been sitting for years. Buy fresh rubber. Second, look up your exact tire on the Federal Recall Database before and after you buy. The tool is free, and it's the single best protection you have. Third, ignore the giant mileage warranty number and ask what's actually covered and how proration works. And fourth, buy for your real climate and research the specific model, not just the brand name. Now let me give you the brands that genuinely earn the trust. First, Michelin. Boring? Maybe. But Michelin has built a long, consistent reputation for tires that deliver close to their claimed tread life, with strong wet braking and a genuine safety engineering focus. They cost more, and here the premium tends to actually map to the product. Consistent quality control and tires that wear evenly and predictably. For a family vehicle where the downside of failure is catastrophic, paying for a brand that spent decades protecting its safety reputation is a defensible spend, not a brand tax. Always check the specific model's recall status, but as a track record, it's one of the strongest in the business. Second, Bridgestone's mainline touring tires, judged on the data, not the history. Yes, Bridgestone owns Firestone, and yes, the history is ugly. But the modern Bridgestone touring and all-season lines consistently land near the top of independent wet braking and longevity testing. The lesson of this whole video is to judge the specific current tire on its real-world record, not the logo or the legend, and on that measure, Bridgestone's premium lines earn their place. Look up the exact model, check it's clean, and you're buying measurable performance in the conditions that actually cause crashes. Third, a well-reviewed value model, bought smart. Here's the move that beats the system. Because so many tires come from capable global manufacturers anyway, the smart buy is often a specific, well-tested model from a reputable value brand. A General, a Kumho, a direct-tested line, where independent reviews and the recall record are clean. You skip the prestige markup and buy a tire whose real-world performance is documented. The trick is buying a proven model with data behind it, not the cheapest unknown in your size. For most drivers, that's the honest sweet spot of price and safety. The tire aisle has been quietly transformed. What used to be a straightforward choice, a name you trusted, a factory you could picture, has become a maze of rebadged casings, gamed spec numbers, pro-rated warranties that protect the seller, aged rubber sold as new, and a handful of giant manufacturers hiding behind dozens of logos, every one of them capable of a tread separation recall. But you're not powerless. You just have to know the 4 rules. Check the date code, look up the recall record, read the real warranty, and research the specific model, not just the brand. If this video stops even one of you from rolling out on tires you shouldn't trust, it did its job. Hit that like button one more time. It genuinely helps push this past the marketing budgets these companies spend to keep you in the dark. Drop a comment telling me what part of the car we should investigate next. Brake pads, oil, batteries. I'm doing this every week. And subscribe so you don't miss it. Until next time. Check your tread, read the sidewall, and don't get stranded.